After sharing the objectives and different areas of intervention in the Lower River region, the first step officials proceeded to Central River, South and North, where Director Fafanding Fatajo highlighted that horticulture, livestock improvement, land reclamation, agro-processing and infrastructure development are among the host of areas identified for intervention. Fatajo used the meetings to encourage target beneficiaries to apply for programs through the Regional Agricultural Directorate. The Governor of Central River Region, Alaji Gani Ture, urged URR residents to take ownership of the project, the absence of which he says will make sustainability an impossibility. Governor Ture said the Food and Agriculture Sector Development Project is unique by virtue of the nature of its planned interventions, but not without paying tribute to government, citing ongoing efforts at enhancing the livelihoods of the Gambian people. Ture also assured the project officials of his office's unwavering support in the implementation process. Modu Bajan, Grts.
The Ministry of Health and Social Welfare, World Health Organization and the African Center for Tobacco Control have launched a campaign that seeks to strictly enforce the ban on public smoking and advertising. Although the practice was outlawed some 15 years ago, campaigners are convinced enforcement of the prohibition is lax. Prohibite has details in this report.
15 years since the enactment of the ban on public smoking and advertising by the National Assembly in 1998, efforts which preceded the World Health Organization Convention, which came into force in 2003. Despite the early step taken by the Gambia, there still exists the problem of public smoking, as people smoke in most public places without considering the people within. This was what prompted the Ministry of Health, in collaboration with its partners, including the WHO and the Center for Tobacco Control in Africa, to launch the ban for its implementation. This ceremony, held at the Jame Foundation Hospital in Bundung, signifies the importance of the venture, as it is the start of a challenge that is considered the biggest due to the problem of implementation, which can be achieved through awareness.
Smoking, like someone said, it is just like having your own money that you definitely toil for. You take it, go to the shop and buy cigarette. You take match and light your own money. It does not only stop there, but you also use the same smoke to destroy yourself.
Applauding the Gambia's achievement in tobacco control, Mamadou Gassama of the WHO urged people to play their part, as it is the business of all.
All over the world, there is a big competition. WHO has over 193 states, 194 states of member states of the World Health Organization. There is a big competition. So among the 194 countries, there is this competition. All countries are expected to nominate candidates, and these candidates are again looked at by a body, a committee, and they award based on merit. And I'm telling you, the Gambia since 2000 has won this 7 times.
Alhaji Idrissa Samba Sala, a retired National Assembly member who pioneered the act of the ban on public smoking and advertising, was also present at the event. In his statement, he reflected on the dangers of tobacco and also asserted that it is the right of individuals to stop those that smoke in public. He, however, urged law enforcement agencies to enforce the ban.
We all know the destruction that tobacco does. As we can see in these pictures, these posters, it destroys from the head up to the toe. There is nothing that worth that. You produce your own money and then use it to destroy yourself. Please, colleagues, or my brothers and sisters, let us avoid smoking as much as possible and as quickly as possible also.
Dauda Sise, Deputy Permanent Secretary, Technical at the Ministry of Health and Social Welfare, who read the launching statement of the Minister of Interior, pointed to WHO statistics, which revealed that every year, nearly 6 million people worldwide lost their lives due to smoking, most of whom are non-smokers, which shows the harm in public smoking.
Unless we act, the epidemic will kill more than 8 million people every year by 2030. More than 80% of these preventable deaths will be among people living in low and middle income countries, and of course, you know, the Gambia is no exception.
Now that the ban on public smoking and advertising is launched, law enforcement agencies as well as individuals are urged to ensure its implementation if the desired effects are to be realized. Prohibite, GRTS News.
Officials from trade departments under the Ministry of Agriculture and their colleagues from Brikama Area Council have been touring settlements in the West Coast region. Modu Bajan has more on the sensitization meetings that dealt with a range of issues bordering on horticulture.
Sector Development Project FASDEP recently embarked on a sensitization campaign targeting 15 beneficiary communities in West Coast region. The campaign is aimed at sensitizing beneficiaries on the objectives and activities of the project as well as the functions of beneficiaries in its implementation. Addressing beneficiaries at various sites, the Governor of West Coast Region, Lamin Sani, underscored the importance of FASDEP in the socio-economic development of the Gambia, noting the importance government attaches to the development of agriculture. He emphasized the call of His Excellency to grow what we eat and eat what we grow in order to eradicate hunger, malnutrition and poverty. While urging beneficiaries to take the project seriously, Governor Sani then dilated on the large quantities of food products imported into the country, which he said can only be reduced or stopped through commitment and hard work with support from projects like FASDEP. Sani also expressed satisfaction in the high proportion of women beneficiaries in the project, adding that it demonstrates the importance President Jammeh attaches to the general well-being of women. FASDEP Project Director Fafanding Fatajo reiterated the project's aims, which include upland conservation, small ruminant, vegetable and crop production, aquaculture, value addition and construction of markets, among others. Having expressed the project's commitment to improve the standard of living of beneficiaries, Director Fatajo stated that other activities can also be accessed through the Regional Agriculture Directorate. As the project aims to benefit 240,000 people, most of whom are women, it may in many ways contribute to the socio-economic upliftment of women and the Gambia at large. Modu Bajan, GRTS News.
Well, that report by Modu Bajan takes us to our first break. We'll be back with news from outside the Gambia. Welcome back. The Malian President Ibrahim Boubacar Keïta has questioned the entire voting system in Mali following low voter turnout in the country's legislative election. CFI reports President Keïta believes winning the majority of parliamentary seats could help his government address some of the challenges confronting Mali, which include fights against terrorism.
Shortly after the voting ended, ballots were being counted in the Mamadou Diarra Center of Bamako's District 2. The son of President Ibrahim Boubacar Keïta is a candidate here. There are no trends for the moment, as the results of the second round of legislative voting will not be known for several days. One thing is certain, the voting process was very calm in this district of Bamako. There were no major incidents. There were several little problems. As usual, when there are gatherings like this, little things happen. There was no violence, but voter participation was low. Compared to the voting for president, very few people came out for the second round of legislative voting in Bamako and in most regions throughout Mali. President Ibrahim Boubacar Keïta, who voted in his district of Sebeni Koro, said the vote is a start of a process. The process will be long. This is a transition, a legitimate transition this time. But we must question our entire system, all our ways of doing things. The Malian head of state hopes to win a majority in the National Assembly in order to meet a number of challenges his country is facing. They include the fight against terrorism. On Saturday, before the election, a car blew up in Kidal in the north, killing 2 Senegalese soldiers in the UN force stationed there. A number of other people were injured.
The Ivorian President Alassane Ouattara has called for dialogue between his party and the opposition FPI of former President Gbagbo. The Ivorian President made the remarks during nationwide